I normally don't do reaction videos. I've actually never posted one on this channel, but when you get sent a video enough times of people asking you to react to it, you gotta give the people what they want. I'm going to this blind, and honestly, I scrap a ton of footage if I'm not happy with it. So if this made it to being posted, there was something in here that I was really, really wanting to talk about. All right, let's get into it.
This isn't a toy.
It kind of is.
Actually, it's a highly sophisticated interlocking brick system.
The box for this one said ages 8 to 14.
That's a suggestion.
So what's up, LEGO fans? It's LEGO Man Cam.
I love the Will Ferrell opening, a little callback to the Lego movie. I mean, it's a clip from the Lego movie, so I guess not a callback, but whenever I feel like I'm explaining to people that I'm into Lego, I feel like I'm exactly sounding like that. So that's kind of a fun way to start it off. I didn't also realize that this video is actually coming from someone within the AFOL community. So that's kind of interesting. I'm very curious to see what this person thinks, being part of the community.
Popularized during COVID-19, these are adults that have taken a particular interest in LEGO, more recently with LEGO's specific Adults Welcome line of sets, the 18+ ones that you can find in the big black boxes. These fans may not even be that big of a fan of LEGO.
I'm definitely part of that. My brother got Legos growing up, and they were actually Toy Story Legos. That's kind of a weird random thing, but he had the big giant Buzz, and then he had the one where it was like Woody's Saloon or something. There was like a saloon, a jail, and it had Jessie and Woody. Where I grew up, there wasn't really Lego stores around, so the only time I ever remember seeing one as a kid was in downtown Disney. And even then, I think I was 12 because we didn't go to Disney much because it's pretty expensive, even living in SoCal. I always really enjoyed it when I did it, and I would take my brother's Lego sets apart and then put them back together, and then take them apart and then put them back together. So I definitely had an interest, but something about being an adult with access to adult money made me start Lego, and then I didn't stop. It's funny that he mentions casual fans. My sister's a casual fan, and then I'm like over 100 sets past casual fan. By the way, if you're curious, I have a whole tour of all my Lego sets, but there are going to be two missing. One is going to be this guy I just built, and then the other one is going to be the Pixar lamp, which I can see just barely off camera, but I'm going to have to get up to get it, but yeah.
The first issue that I would like to discuss are that adult fans see LEGO as investments. Now, people have been investing in LEGO for a really long time. However, once again, over the COVID period, it became much more mainstream.
It's funny that he mentions like the investing in Lego and all that stuff. I've actually done a lot of research into this. On an old YouTube channel I talked about 5 weird alternative investments, and Lego was one of those. Without getting fully back into that video, Lego investing has a huge history, and it spans back decades of like outperforming the S&P 500. So this has been a good way that people have made money before. Getting back to myself, I do have one set that I bought for investment. Usually for me, if I get money, I'm going to just buy a new set because I love building. I'm at like 120 sets now. If I get money to buy Lego, I'm just gonna get it to build something new. This channel is here pretty much so I don't look crazy. That's not really true. I have a really big passion for content creation and filming and editing, and I also have a big passion for Legos, and those merge really well for this channel. But I've been affected by this. I have been dying to get my hands on the Birds of Paradise Lego, but it is so crazy expensive. It is the only botanical I'm missing from my collection besides the happy plants, but I'll be able to get my hands on that eventually. That's also been kind of a bummer to not be able to buy it because it's just soared so outrageously in price. I kind of feel conflicted because it's really nice that we can buy these retired sets because Lego never re-releases them. But then at the same time, it like sucks that the prices get driven up so much by this.
They will likely scoop them all up as soon as they see a licensed set for more than about 30% off.
Lego doesn't really have sets go on sale, and I've noticed that there's a very big emphasis if you go to the Lego website, which actually I have up because I have like 4 Lego tabs open right now. But if you go to any set, so I'm just going to click on, sure, let's do the Disney Pixar Luxo Junior. They all say limit 3. And I would guess this is why. I'm not sure how it works in store again. I don't have the patience. I'm going to just buy a bunch of other sets.
This investment viewpoint has also changed which LEGO sets become sought after.
So here he's talking about sets that are sought after, and it's kind of funny because he's showing a set that hasn't been released yet. It is the One Piece Going Merry. I think that's going to be another set that's going to be really sought after. I think it's going to be hard to get your hands on, and I think it's definitely going to be scalped, even though it hasn't released yet. Look, maybe this is a biased perspective, but I am... Hold on. Hold on. I'm on my Crunchyroll right now, and I don't know if you can see this, but I've watched 109 episodes of One Piece. So I know the series pretty well. I do watch it dubbed because I watch it and like edit or build Legos or whatever, and I can't read the subtitles at the same time as I'm doing something else. So I have a big bias. I love One Piece. But there is a really, really, really big fan base around it. To me, One Piece in Japan feels similar to how The Office felt here while it was airing. It is a very big, very well-known show. You know the show, even if you haven't watched any of it. And you probably know the characters too, at least in Japan. But there's also One Piece events I've been to here. We literally have a One Piece cafe within my city that stays up and running. So it's got a very big fandom, but the Going Merry is like exactly the same as it is in the anime. I mean, I can't say it 100% because we haven't seen it in person. I haven't built it, but it looks exactly like it does on the anime. So it's not going to just appeal to people who watch Netflix One Piece. It's going to appeal to the anime fans as well. I think that one's going to be scalped. I think it's going to do really well investment wise. One Piece is huge. It's still probably got another 10 years in the anime. So I could see this being a little bit like a Simpsons set.
As typically minifigures are what holds a set's value.
It's kind of interesting. I didn't know that was how it worked. I did a retired set, which actually was just retired because I didn't get around to building it, and I noticed the minifigures on it were insane. And even with opening it up and building it, it kind of stayed around the same value just because of the minifigs inside. So I didn't know that's how it was judged. I just thought it was based off of like how unique a set was, but I guess people want to get their hands on the Simpsons minifigures, but I'd want to get my hands on the Simpsons house. I don't know. My brain doesn't work right for investments. That's why I don't do this. The only one I have is a Christmas set because I knew that one would do well.
The next issue has to do with LEGO licensed themes. Take for example, Harry Potter. Would an adult buy a set that is branded as the Hogwarts Express, or would they buy a $40 cheaper set that's just a generic LEGO train?
I do think that he's correct in that adult fans would typically gravitate towards like a Hogwarts Express versus a normal train. And the train's going to be a small subsect of AFOLs who have a Lego city who are going to want the unbranded train. But at the same time, without licensed IPs, there's a ton of adult sets, or I think adult leaning sets, that don't have any licensed IP at all. Look behind me. No licensed IP. No licensed IP. No licensed IP. Pretty much any of the art sets, no licensed IP, except for maybe the Keith Haring one. Those hit like iconic things adults know without necessarily having a licensed IP behind it. Also the architecture sets. The Trevi Fountain, I really, really sincerely doubt that they reached out to the Italian government and was like, can we do a Lego set of the Trevi Fountain? I don't even know who they'd reach out to for that. Or like potentially the Eiffel Tower, although I know that like to use the Eiffel Tower in a movie you have to pay the city of Paris or something like that. So maybe Lego had to reach out to like whatever commission for that one, but like I don't think the Trevi Fountain's a licensed IP. Also the Creator 3 ones I think can be pretty big with adult fans of Lego as well. So I don't think it necessarily is, but I think for certain concepts people want it. The vintage radio, the idea sets, the vintage radio, the typewriter, those are all non-licensed IP. I see what he's saying with this one, but I don't think he's necessarily right. Also, our botanicals, really big with the AFOLs. Non-licensed IP.
However, it kind of shows to LEGO that fans don't want unlicensed sets.
I don't like this argument because we're seeing this in other subsects of LEGO that are not licensed IP. These aren't Harry Potter, these aren't Star Wars. Take the art sets, which I love the art sets. I know them so well. But we've had 3 released last year. The Macaw Parrots, Milky Way Galaxy, and the Mona Lisa. We're a little under halfway through the year right now, and we've gotten 4 because these are very popular themes that are not licensed IP. We had the Lego Love, the Van Gogh Sunflowers, the Keith Haring dancing figures, and then we had the Fauna Collection Tiger. So I don't really feel like it's a fair argument to make because I literally off the top of my head could think of like one other subsect that has been seeing a huge amount of set growth that is not licensed IP.
Which has to do with LEGO sets selling out and the idea of scalping in the LEGO community.
I don't know if we saw this on May the 4th, but this is still going on right now with Happy Plants. It's been so hard to get your hands on it, and so I kind of do see the point on that. It's been a little annoying when you're seeing them resell on Facebook Marketplace and someone's trying to sell them for like $40.
New sets fly off the shelves, with adults queuing up outside stores for hours at a time to make sure they can secure the new sets themselves.
I was actually part of this on the June 1st release, and it was over 100 degrees outside, and I was in line for like a good hour-ish, and I managed to get my hands on the last vending machine in the store, which was pretty nice. And then I got my Lego tote. I spent too much money on that. I actually have a video on that if you want to see what that whole experience is like. But I do kind of agree. I kind of don't want to wait for the sets to potentially come in on pre-order. I pre-ordered the Fast and Furious Honda S2000 and it still came in like a week after the actual launch date. So sometimes it's just like I want to get my hands on it, and also like doing content like this, I want to get my hands on it when it comes out.
Now, this isn't entirely the worst thing, but something that is really bad, and I hope we can all agree on, is Lego scalping. Now, scalping is the idea of buying up all available copies of something to then resell them at a much higher price. This happens a lot with modern day Pokemon cards, so much so that purchase limits have had to be implemented.
With scalping and some of the ways that people do Lego investing, I guess there's kind of a line that's different for everybody. But personally, I feel like if you're like gonna buy an extra set or two, when you're going really like an extra one, and you want to keep it and hold it for investment, it's not a big deal. But if you're going into the store and trying to go with like one other person so you can take all of them off the shelf and then resell them, I think that's kind of crappy. I feel like people like that though are not actual fans of Lego. I feel like the whole like Lego community has, maybe I'm like really naive too. Maybe I'm really naive, but I feel like the whole Lego community has a lot of support and kindness, and everyone's really positive and nice, and it doesn't seem to me like something that an actual fan of Lego would be doing. It seems like more somebody who sees an opportunity is just going to strike for it, because that just doesn't feel right. When I was standing in line for the Lego store, I remember I was talking to the guy behind me about the set that he wanted, and me and the guy in front of me were like, hey, if there's only one of these, we'll grab it and make sure you can get it, because he came specifically for that one set. And I feel like that's the Lego community, you know? It's not this.
I personally scanned through around a dozen boxes full of minifigures and couldn't find a single one, and I've heard similar stories elsewhere from all the comments on that video.
So I wonder if this is why we've seen the minifigures start to come in boxes instead of bags, because I would imagine the bags you'd be able to feel a lot better what you're getting. So I've seen that and I wondered why that happened, but I just figured they were trying to be more eco-friendly with like recyclable cardboard or whatever.
I thought this would be the end of it, however it then started to happen again when the new F1 sets released.
I'm not surprised by that. I feel like the F1 fans, no offense, but they generally have money to spend on stuff like this, so I could see the opportunity that a scalper would see for that.
We then have things like gift with purchases or the BrickLink designer program, sets with very limited supply and a short time of being available for purchase that have become prime suspects and targets for scalpers.
Yeah, looking at some of those BrickLink sets, because they're already kind of hard to like get in that small window of manufacturing on it, I can absolutely see why those would be prime for scalpers. If you don't know, BrickLink is like an offshoot of Lego. It is owned officially by Lego and is with Lego pieces. There's a whole thing on that. I can actually do a video explaining what BrickLink is if you guys would ever be curious about that, because I do occasionally go off topic of my set reviews.
This article detailed how Lego Star Wars sets have been distributed this year, with this being the least number of regular playsets we've received since 2006.
I feel like because Star Wars has a really big age in fan base, and this is what I've talked about before when like reviewing the brick built Star Wars logo, I feel like it's important to have those play sets because it appeals to both kids who like Star Wars and then also adults. I feel like it's just like a nice way to introduce kids into a lifelong hobby. Very expensive lifelong hobby.
Now, I want to make this clear that I am an adult fan of Lego myself, but I don't buy any of these adult-oriented sets.
Oh good, I had no idea he was an adult fan of Lego. Lego Man Cam. When I reviewed my Star Wars one, I saw a lot of people who had those same sentiments as well, so that's pretty interesting.
I'm not saying that all adult fans of Lego are bad or have ill intentions.
I appreciate that he clarified that, but I think I got that vibe. His thing literally is Lego Man Cam. I know he's not critiquing himself in this, you know?
I mean, I'm an adult and I'm a fan of Lego, but I think with this drastic increase in adult fans over the past few years, it has changed Lego's decision-making process. That for a lot of us who have been fans of Lego for a really long time are kind of making us consider whether the company is heading in the right direction.
I've said this several times, but this guy is Lego Man Cam. I'm going to click into his channel because I'm actually a little curious what he does. Oh my gosh, I love this. Actually, there's so many. Yeah, so I just looked into his channel. A lot of these videos look absolutely good. If they're at the same quality as this last video, it's probably got to be amazing. Like, he has one on, like, why did the Lego Powerpuff Girls fail? I think that's fascinating, and I would love to see that. So I definitely would recommend checking him out. I don't know, like, usually my videos get, like, 1,000 views, and this got like 63,000, so I don't really know if this is going to help out too much, but I'd highly recommend checking him out. Anyways, for some final thoughts, obviously with the new influx of fans, there's going to be some changes, both positive and negative. One of the great positives, in my opinion, is these art sets. If you didn't know, I'm a big fan of the art sets. We've also been getting more botanicals, and I love and adore the botanicals, but there's also going to be some negatives. The more popular something gets, the more it's going to be scalped, and there's going to be issues like that, and it's unfortunate. I wish it didn't happen, but I do agree 100% with the Star Wars thing. It is a very common thing I've seen for a while. I do hope that we see more of these sets that don't need any kind of licensed IP because I think they're pretty cool. The minifigure vending machine, that's another one. Oh my gosh, that's totally another one from the Lego Ideas set that did really well. I don't think it needs to be necessarily like a licensed IP, but it's got to have something cool to it. It's got to have a draw, and that's probably going to be more of it when adults are in charge of choosing their own sets versus like an adult getting it for a kid. I do agree, however, that these sets have been having really, really high price per brick prices, and that's been a little bit annoying. I've noticed a change in the last year, so I can only imagine if you were into this from like 2017, really how 2015, how bad it's been over the last 10 years. Anyways, I just want to say thank you so much for watching. I know this is totally outside of my normal like type of content that I do. I usually do set reviews. I am posting this one. Oh, I just knocked it. I just knocked off a brick. This will be my next video coming out on Wednesday, back to my set reviews. I just want to say thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.